This is Reese Alsbury with the linear assignment, video assignment number 2, how to get row echelon form and reduced row echelon form from your matrices. We have to do all kinds of things like add, subtract, multiply, divide, and even swap rows. So let's get started with this one. So in order to find, this is a 3 by 4 matrix, and in order to find row echelon form, we have to get the triangle of zeros that we talked about in class in here. So we just look at the numbers in black. We can see, like I said before, the 3 by 4 matrix, and we have a 0 here, and we need to get a 0 here. So the first thing we should do is we should take row 1 and subtract row 3 from it. And when I'm manipulating one of the rows, what I like to do is take that row and do the math first. So this is going to become, it's negative, so this 1 becomes -1, 2 becomes -2, 4 becomes -4, and 6 becomes -6. So when we take this row and replace it down here at row 3, we get 1 minus 1 is 0, 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2 is 1, -2 minus 4 is -6, 3 minus 6 is -3. So we have 2 zeros, and we need to get another 0 here where that 1 is. So what we need to do is take row 2 and subtract row 3 from it. So, and we're going to put that row in here for row 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the negative of this row, so 1 becomes -1, 6 becomes +6, -3 becomes +3. So when we come down and replace it, we go, row 2 minus row 3, so 0 and 0 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. 1 plus 6 is 7, and 4 plus 3 is 7. And we have these zeros that make up the triangle of zeros that we talked about in class, and that's what we call echelon form. So now that we have echelon form, what we want to do is reduce it further until we get reduced echelon form, where we have a 1 in this space, and this space, and everything else besides the variables we're looking for becomes 0. So one thing that pops out at me is this row here where we have 2 7s, well, we could just divide that row by 7, and we do that, this becomes 1 and that becomes 1, and replace that down here. So row 3 divided by 7 for that third row becomes 0 0 1 1. And now what we want to do is see if we could get a 0 here. So what we're going to do is take row 2 and subtract row 3 from it and substitute the second row for it. So we bring the first row back in, we put that third row back in, and for the second row we make these two negative because we're going to subtract that one. So 1 minus 0 becomes 1, 1 minus 1 becomes 0, 4 minus 1 becomes 3. And as you can tell, we're getting closer. We'll just rewrite that one here. So the next step we probably want to do is we look at row 1 and subtract row 3. We could probably get a 0 here. So we're going to take the third row and manipulate that. We're going to take row 1 and subtract 3 times row 2 from it. So that second row we can multiply by -3. So this 1 is going to become -3, that 0 is 0, and this 3 is going to become -9. So then when we put those together, we're going to get 1 and 0 is 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. We're going to put these in for the first row. 2 and -2 and 0 is -2, and 3 minus 9 is going to become -6. So in order to get, let's see, we've got our x3 is 1 here, we've got our x2 is 3 here, and the only thing that's keeping us from seeing reduced row echelon form is this -2. So in order to get this to be 0 so we can see our x1 variable and the answer over there, we're going to take row 1 and add it to 2 times row 3. So if we look at row 3 and multiply that by 2, Make a 2 here and put a 2 there. So row 1 and 2 times row 3. So 1 and 0 becomes a 0. 0 and 1 becomes a 1. Negative 2 and 2 becomes a 0. Negative 6 and 2 becomes a negative 4. And look, it's echelon form. It's been echelon form the whole time because of that triangle of zeros. And except for the variables, everything else is a 0. So we've got 1 times x1 is negative 4. So x1 is negative 4. 1 times x2 is 3. So x2 is 3. And 1 times x3 is 1. So x3 is 1. And that's how we get reduced echelon form.